This is an international podcast transmission. Is anyone out there? If you're listening, you've reached the No Fixed Agenda podcast. And I think we probably had a podcast before you even showed up.
And now we're having another podcast.
Now we're having another podcast.
Is this the third podcast?
So it is
the backstory podcast.
The backstory.
Yes.
So before we get into the introductions and all that stuff, I want to say that Chaz is now my favorite guest.
Whoa,
and I'm gonna.
It's early,
dude. Dude, wow.
So because
this is big, bro.
Yeah.
This is gonna air at. This is gonna be our 101.
Did you guys
101, bro?
Did you guys tee this up before?
Bro.
No, this is coming out this week. So anyway,
outstanding.
The reason being is Chaz decides to bring some booze for me. And so we've never had a guest.
You show him love through his liver.
Yeah, we've never had a guest bring booze for myself.
You know me. I'm not gonna have any. But
well, I didn't know you. I wasn't sure if you were gonna be present. You guys were couple dating the other night.
Yeah. Well, we're always together.
So. So Chaz, go ahead and tell what do I have here?
So today, my friend, you have some Old Forester standard straight Kentucky bourbon from a good friend of mine, and you drink that neat, or you can put it on the rocks. Up to you. But you know, it's old school. You know, it's one of the OGs from the Bourbon Trail.
This is different from my Fit Aid. That is
yes, right? It's definitely not.
That is aged for 2 weeks.
Definitely not.
So
it's definitely not Fit Aid, sir.
Yeah,
I tell you what, I'm not gonna ever turn down bourbon. I'm not a big brown drinker, but I tell you what, this smells just delightful. Cheers.
Cheers, you guys.
Salute to the Fit Aid.
Salute to the Fit Aid.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's nice.
You're
Thank you.
Not gonna get shit done tonight now.
Oh no. Yep. Now I
had plans this evening.
Now if I had plans this afternoon, it's not happening either.
It's not happening. Well,
so this is the life. If everything goes off topic, we know the reason.
We know why.
So you're telling me I got to steer this boat if you get off topic, bro?
We're
fucked.
We're fucked. We are
royally fucked, bro.
You know, listen, man, I was in the military. That's all right.
Anyway,
you know, sometimes you just have to say. There was this great post I got the other day from the great Jack Nichols, and there's a picture of him smoking a cigar, and he goes, "Sometimes you just gotta say, fuck it."
Yep, there you go. Exactly.
Let go.
So, I don't know if you've listened to any of our shows.
I did some.
So
homework.
there's one question we like to ask, and I think you of all guests will have a good answer for this.
All right.
So we like to give a little elevator pitch, if you will, mixed with a little bit of a tender profile. What's going to get people to swipe right, swipe left on this conversation?
Sure.
Chaz know what tender is, though? I mean, he said he's upwards of 50, I think.
Nah. As most of our guests answer this question, nobody's
what
ever
tender is.
Well, everybody knows what it is, but nobody's on it.
Bro.
Anywho, it's an elevator pitch.
Yeah.
What?
Good, though.
And this could be of personal, could be business.
Okay.
What would people want to know in the next 30 seconds to get you to continue to listen in on this?
I love that.
Go.
Let me go now.
Yep.
So first and foremost, I am a prostate cancer survivor.
Ooh.
And so for me, for anyone listening who's gone through that journey, you can reset, you can pivot, and you can renew. And that's literally what I've been doing over the last. Got diagnosed in 2013 on my birthday. I was 45 years old.
Damn.
Wow.
So, want to learn more? Stay tuned.
I thought we were going to talk about cigars and.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
So what I didn't know, and this is what I've kind of learned as you and I were chatting before we started recording, is your fitness coach.
Yeah. I'm recovering from that.
Yeah, coming in from that, and we'd talked about, like, you had asked me how I got that Bill Walton jersey up front, and we kind of went into these conversations. And I want to bring this up because Omar missed this. and I was telling Chaz, I had the opportunity when I first moved to San Diego to sit down with Bill Walton a couple times and chat with him about business and life and get his his experience on at the time I was trying to do some fundraisers for Challenge Athletes Foundation and trying to really get my business going. And so he was gracious enough to give me a bunch of stuff for auction. He gave me a jersey and signed it for me. And I was just telling Chaz, like, there's people that you meet in life that you don't necessarily expect them to be that cool at that high of a level or high of a status of individual, right? Like what he has seen over his lifetime,
dude,
and the people he's talked to, like to actually give somebody like myself, who he has no idea who I am, really, allows me to come into his house and hang out and just all this business knowledge on me. I was like, great. And so we kind of had a chance to chat about that. And that's when Chaz, you started talking about your background as far as, and I want Omar to kind of hear this because like the experience that you've had in the fitness industry, and he, Omar owns a gym right down the street.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Okay, great.
So I want to know why you're recovering.
How much time do you have?
Yeah. I want to know why you're recovering.
Well,
and how much recovery am I going to need?
How long you been doing it?
Oh, jeez. I got into it when I was 38.
Okay.
So I just made the switch when I was 38, full time, from a long career in supply chain and logistics, transportation. And so 38, I'm 40. I'll be 49 this year, so 11 years.
Yeah, you're still a pup. Just you wait.
Listen, I did it part-time.
Let me keep it 100. I got a good friend of mine, and I'm going to give her a shout-out because she just celebrated a big birthday. My good friend, Deborah Hubbard, and I'll tell you her backstory in just a second. But she and I met many, many years ago, and she has this company called Black Don't Crack. And I'd heard
That's
it.
Her company name.
It's the name of the company.
Okay.
And I'd heard it before, but I didn't know where I'd heard it. And then I found out where I heard it. I heard it from another buddy of mine who's an entertainer, because she was in the entertainment industry. And she created this brand called Black Don't Crack. And I'm like, that's legit, right? So I get a chance to meet her years ago up in L.A. at a jazz event. And she had a booth and the whole thing. We get to talking and chop it up. And I'm going, I love that. Everything about the brand, the shirts and everything. And at that time, I think she was just doing apparel. But what's cool about that is I get told all the time, like, I don't look, quote unquote, my age.
Yeah.
And I go, what does that mean?
Don't crack.
Yeah.
Black don't crack, man. But the Bill Walton story, I need to pick up on that because I've had the opportunity over 30 years to work with his other foundation that I believe his second wife, if I'm not mistaken, they were doing work with veterans and support animals. And so we had a call with Mrs. Walton just about a year and a half to two before Bill passed. And I had talks with her about the veterans thing because I'm a U.S. Navy veteran. But it goes a little bit deeper because you were saying about how you have experience in meeting people just randomly and how cool they are. Well, I knew Luke, his son, more than I knew of his father. I knew Luke through, obviously, his father's legacy, but Luke was an outstanding national champion with the Arizona Wildcats. And they used to come to my facility, I was telling you, in Anaheim. You're going to appreciate this. So this is the randomness of the fitness industry as a whole. There's all different ways that fitness concepts come to life and become a business. And so when I started my career in the great state of Hawaii, believe it or not, I know, see again, random, but was it? I'm in Hawaii, I'm working, I'm still in the U.S. Navy, and one of my commanding officers gave me an opportunity to I could be in a uniform, but I also could work in the civilian sector. And because I was a, quote unquote, what we used to call in the military, use a military term, a 4-0 sailor, I had permission to go do things outside of my actual naval duties, as long as we were in port. And so I got an opportunity with the director, and shout out to Lonnie Anderson, because she gave me a job. And my job was to help stand up our very first aerobic facility on a naval installation in Pearl Harbor, which had never been done. And so I said, sure, I didn't know what I was doing. But okay. And the reason I got into it, right, and sometimes it's probably better. The reason I got into it is because I had a buddy of mine, again, another shout out to my boy Derek Jackson. He was like, hey, man, I'm in the back hanging out, doing aerobics workouts because I started into it in Ohio where I grew up. Because in Ohio, back then, weight training was either you were a bodybuilder, do you remember?
Yep.
They called it the golden age.
Yep.
Right, which means
Arnold,
you go big and strong and stuff. You got and I've had the occasion, again, going back to your earlier story, I've had the occasion to meet both Lou Ferrigno and Arnold Schwarzenegger over my career. Amazing. And what's great about that, the fitness industry, it wasn't even called fitness back then. I can't remember. It was just working out, right? And you went to the gym with
pumping
the muscle,
iron,
right? Pumping iron. You went to the gym,
bodybuilder.
Yeah. You went to the gym with the muscle sets. I really didn't work out that way. I was a track and field athlete as a kid, and I played a ton of basketball. To the point where while I was in military service, I had an opportunity to look at considering becoming a professional player over in Australia. And I was this close to doing it.
Wow.
But I was already making money as a fitness instructor at Pearl Harbor. And this opportunity to help stand that facility up, I wanted to see it out when I got out. But I kept getting opportunity after opportunity. So much so that I ended up on television. And I just ran into this guy a few years ago. Hawaii had these, first of all, Hawaii's just beautiful. There's not a place, there's not a good photo opportunity.
Yep.
So there was a guy, Gilad Jinkowitz, I think was his name. He was a Olympian from his country. And he landed in Hawaii, and I still don't know how he got there and how all that worked out. Long story short, he had a television show. I can't remember the name of it. You can look it up.
On the island?
On the island. And they shot on the island. There were a couple different fitness celebrities that shot on the island, including, I think, even Denise Austin back in the day.
Wow.
And so I become just a background prop. Doing doing the exercise.
Are we doing aerobic exercises?
That is
aerobic exercises?
Yes, gentlemen.
This is awesome.
We are doing aerobic exercise.
Are you wearing leotards?
Yeah.
Wow.
I know. Listen, it was snug. Let's put it that way. And we had the Reebok shoes and the leg warmer things and the whole deal, right? It was pretty.
I just got a visual.
I'm sorry. And you know what? Now that I'm reflecting on that, man, that was amazing. So long story short, I go and audition and I become a backup for the show. And I ran into him a couple of years back at a fitness event. And he didn't remember me, but I remembered him because, of course, he was much older, right?
Yeah.
But I said, hey, we've met a few times, and I think I auditioned for your show back in the day. And I forgot what it was called, Body Works or something along those lines. What was cool about that experience was there was a lot of us in the fitness industry back then that, we didn't know what we were doing. There was no social media, and if you got on television or even shot a pilot, you did it because, you just happened to be in the right place at the right time. You didn't have an agent, right? You just showed up and maybe they fed you.
Yeah.
Maybe they threw you a couple of bucks.
Yeah.
But what you did get was the experience.
Yeah.
And so I just kept stacking experiences.
Ooh, I like
and
that.
those experiences became opportunities.
See, I like that.
That's money right there.
I mean,
that.
and those opportunities, guys, became my career. And so when someone asked me, about my college background and everything, yeah, I was in college for a couple of years. I was a Cincinnati Bearcat, proud to be from Ohio. I'm a Buckeye born and raised, and and I love them on Saturday and Sundays, and I love my Bengals. I love all that, right? But what was cool about that was I kept stacking these experiences because I kept putting myself in places where I probably didn't belong in the beginning, right? But this is what if I give a little PSA to young people, and I have 2 sons and a daughter, I will tell them it doesn't matter what you know. Go where you don't know nothing.
Oh.
Yep.
Because there's a good chance you might, by accident, learn a couple of things.
Yeah.
My mentors in my life, and I get asked this all the time about mentorship. It's like I literally kept running in to, like your point with Bill Walton, I kept running into people like that. And I'm talking about some major players. I mean, I met the vice president, Al Gore, one time only. He was at my hotel. I told you about the ESPN Classic.
Yep.
They brought all the old dogs in. So I met some of the best that the sports world had to offer in the 80s. They all brought him in to do this big launch for ESPN Classic. So I met Joe Namath.
Okay.
Dude, this is a good story though. So
you know what?
You gotta hear this. I love this story.
You know what's great about this? Like sometimes you meet somebody. There was an old saying about never meet your heroes or something like that. He wasn't a hero. He was a guy I respected, and I knew of him back then, playing in the AFC. You know, the AFL. Forgive me, in the AFL before the NFL, before the merger.
Yeah.
And I followed him, man, because he was brash. He was classy. He had been on television. You know, this was before social media, right? And everybody knew who Joe Namath was. You know, Smoking Joe Namath. Everybody knew who he was. I'm like, so we're at the hotel, and our facility was down in the basement. And so you had to come down the elevator to get there, and you walk in. It's 2,500 square foot space. Beautiful space. So he comes in, and he's kind of like just shuffling quietly, got a jacket on. He doesn't even look up because he can't because of his arthritis.
From football.
From football.
Yeah.
He was a quarterback.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right. He walks in, and he goes over to I don't even know if they still have these. I know the company's still around. Do you remember the Nordic skier?
Oh, hell yeah.
All right, so check
yeah.
it. You know, you had, right?
Yep.
And they had it up.
Yep.
It was on infomercials and all that. So long story short, he gets there. I take him over. I set him up. I said, is there anything else I can do for you, sir? Did not even call him by his name. I knew who he was, but I didn't, out of respect, I wanted to, these guys, something I learned years ago.
And you were working in the hotel.
I was one of the lead fitness trainers for Hilton Anaheim at the time. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just working there, but he doesn't know who I am. I mean, outside of my director, I was one of the leadership team there, and it was a great experience. Shout out to Lauren Nelson. That's Lauren, amazing story about her. So check it out. He's working out. He gets done with the work. It's about 20, 30 minutes. Okay, he gets off, and I'm paying attention to him. And there's other guys in there, but he at the moment he's a prime member for me. He's just a guest in the hotel, but he's a prime member. I got to make sure he's good. So this is just from my training. So I finished, he finishes up the session, gets off, he comes back, and I have his jacket.
Okay.
Right? Took care of his jacket for him, and then he comes back over, and I go to hand him his jacket back. He says, you know what? I didn't catch your name.
He says that?
To me. He said, my name is Chaz, sir. He says, my name is Joe, and extends his hand. Bro.
Yeah.
I get emotional just thinking about it because I know how people can be around people of that stature.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I've never been like that.
I
don't know how. I think I do know, actually. I did growing up in Dayton, Ohio, where I grew up. So I grew up around some major, quote unquote, celebrities, if you want to call them that, back in the day. But where I'm from, Roger Troutman and Zapp was one of a major band in the 80s, and he, the voice machine that Peter Frampton kind of sort of made.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Roger used to do the same, the voice box. I grew up with those dudes.
Yeah, that's my
and
jam.
Roger.
That's my jam.
Jeff
doesn't know anything about this.
No, we're gonna have to look him up.
We're gonna have to educate him.
A little more, a little more bounce to the house. But,
Jeff knows nothing about this.
I don't.
I'm gonna send him a playlist.
Yeah.
Please do.
I don't know.
Like his wife's gonna be like, what the
hell is
that?
This guy tortures me with country music in the gym all the time.
A little country.
No, every day. Country?
Well, yeah. Listen.
Go Roger Zapp for the warm-up, boy. Let's go.
So growing up in Dayton, man, I was around all this music. I literally was around it all the time. And so, and these guys were celebrities, and I, his family had a construction company. One of my first summer jobs was working for his construction company. But also they had the music life. Yeah. And so it was cool. And then the Ohio Players. I went to one of my best friends, shout out to Monique in the house. Literally, her father was Satch. This dude was amazing, right? And growing up watching that as a kid and hanging around them, and they treated you like family, right, back then, right? So, again, this is before social media. So you knew these guys were like celebrities, but they didn't act that way. They treated you, cool. And they loved to pour into you. You were talking about this earlier before we went on air. They love to pour stuff into you. And I grew up literally across the street from one of the premier blues artists of his time, and I didn't know it until I was older who he was. This guy named Piney Brown. This dude was a beast. Blues artist. He was never home Thursday to Monday because he was on the road. And I would see him walk out with his guitar, and I'm sitting there, this dude was on that grind, you know? And, you know, blues artists back then, they weren't making a killing.
No.
You know, they had to tour.
Yeah.
You know, if you think about all the blues artists, I mean, obviously the most famous one, if you want to say that, it was B.B. King. But there were a bunch of his peers that were like that. So just being around those people all the time and, you know, working concert series for Miller Genuine Draft and Roger and those guys be playing, I'd get to hang out with them. I got to learn how to be around that type of person and just be cool.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it says something like I've always been that same way. Like I guess it's just one of those things. Like growing up in Illinois, it's also the respect.
Chicago.
It's also the respect aspect of it. You don't like. I respect people's privacy on it, and I don't. You see somebody in a restaurant or whatever. I'm always like, oh, that's cool. They're, so and so sitting there. Like, but I've never been one to be like, hey, can I go get an autograph? Can I get a now? Can I go get a selfie?
Yeah.
Like I'm like, I'm gonna respect their time. Like, and if like you said, something happens where there is a communication, great, you take full advantage of that.
Absolutely.
But
absolutely,
I've always, I'm the same way. I've always been that. I mean,
they're just people.
They're just people.
Well, at the end of the day, they got a career, right?
I mean, they got a career. Yeah. They're just people, but they're accomplished people, right?
I had a great, it's funny, man. Not even a couple weeks ago, dear friend of ours had a stroke, and I do not like the Dodgers. I am not a Dodgers guy. Well, because I just want to.
I might just start drinking today.
I just want you to know the kind of company you're keeping. So, man, I'm not kidding. We literally we're sitting. I'm in my club, and Dave Roberts walks in.
Wow.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
The coolest dude.
Yeah.
Met his son, introduced him, but I asked him a favor. My friend had the stroke. He's a huge Dodgers fan. And, we've got a running joke. In fact, the photo of him in my contacts is him flipping me off because I'm a Reds guy.
Yeah.
And the other buddy I was with is a Padres guy. And so we were giving him shit one day. And we called him. And he says, fuck the dog. He goes, and that's his contact picture in my phone in real time because we're sitting in Cincinnati at a Reds game and we're giving him grief. Yeah. And so Roberts walks into the restaurant, man, and he was so cool. And I just said, look, I had a buddy who loves the Dodgers. Congratulations on the championship. Would you mind doing a selfie with me, to send him? He's like, no problem. He did that. Cool. And I've done a lot of work with baseball players over the years, but I didn't even get in any of that. I just appreciated that, one, he took the moment to do it. Two, he wasn't offended by it. Some guys don't really want to do that. Yeah. And so we did that. So that was cool.
Yeah. I've only met a couple famous people, but it was when the Super Bowl was in, what was it, in L.A.? Was it San Diego?
L.A.
It was in L.A.
Okay.
And this is way back. Jerry Rice, Tim Brown.
Dude.
They were all in the Hilton in La Jolla, and we were big Raider fans, right? This is when they were on the Raiders. And
that's right. That's right.
And so me and my buddy, we went down to the bar that was in the hotel that they were staying at, and we went there, and we ran into Tim Brown in the elevator. He was just like fist bumping everybody.
Good people, by the way.
Yeah, he's good.
Good people. I've met him.
Charles
Woodson?
Charles Woodson was on that squad.
Yeah.
He was not so nice. And if you're listening to this, I doubt he
I
doubt he is, but he was not. He was like nah.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so me and my buddy just go to the bar. We're sitting at the bar. We're drinking. And Jerry Rice sits literally next to me, dude. And I'm like, I'm just not gonna do anything. I'm like, I'm starstruck, but it's like fucking Jerry Rice, bro.
Yeah.
Like number one receiver at the time, bro.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
You know
Rice
what I mean? All
legit.
time, right?
Yeah.
And
Legit.
I'm just like, oh, dude, that's Jerry Rice. And I'm just sitting there going, fuck, can I just play it cool? And I looked at him. He looked at me. He goes, "What's up?" And then we just started talking, dude. And he was like normal, dude. But Jerry Rice is a very, very cool dude. Same scenario, right?
And I've had the same experience.
But
Great
I never
dude.
asked him for an autograph or anything like that. I mean, this is before phones, though, too. So we had like Nokia phones, the brick ones.
The bricks,
ones,
yeah.
yeah.
They didn't have cameras.
I couldn't be like selfie, dude.
Yeah. I didn't even know. I don't even think that was a terminology when the bricks were out.
Hell no.
Hell no.
Was it?
No.
Hell no.
That didn't come out until like the iPhone happened,
yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Because
Apple people. Do
Nah,
that,
it was like, was it iPhone, dude, or was it like when social media started popping off?
I can't
no,
remember.
because when social media started and when iPhones came out, it was a separation. Like MySpace came out, right?
MySpace
Came out and
that.
it didn't. Yeah. There was no iPhone or smartphone like this. There was the BlackBerry, but the BlackBerry didn't have a camera on it.
I loved my BlackBerry.
Oh yeah,
that was the hardest thing for me to give up. Once I started getting good at it, because it had the tactile.
I tell you what,
I had like fucking smoking thumbs, boy.
When it's all said and done, BlackBerry fucked up.
Yeah.
Did they though?
Yes, they didn't. They didn't want to get away from the keyboard of everything.
But everybody was used to the
Everybody
keyboard.
was using it, but then all of a sudden, iPhone came out,
Yeah.
and Samsung brought out their. I don't know if at the time it was Galaxy or not, but anyway, those type of phones started coming out, and BlackBerry was trying to hold strong. Like, oh, people just love the keyboard.
Bro, I felt like I had to go into rehab
and
for like
honestly,
2 years.
BlackBerry probably could have come out with.
They could have.
They could have done a combination of what iPhone and Samsung were doing with the keyboard, and they probably would have crushed it because people. I had a BlackBerry for a little bit. And again, you get stuck with a keyboard. It was like, oh, this is awesome.
This is awesome. Yeah, no, it was
great.
And then dude, fun fact: when I was in logistics, I had a contract with them down in Guadalajara, and they were setting up a distribution center down there, and so I was part of the team to put together the transportation aspect of that whole DC. And they doubled down. Like this is when iPhone already had come out. Yeah. And they were like, nah,
that's what I'm saying.
They doubled down on their fucking keyboard.
Well,
they had an assembly line, the whole thing. Yeah. And then like, do they pay thousands of dollars, probably millions to set this DC up, bro?
Yeah.
And they flew all these experts out and we're just sitting there in corporate apartments. I'm telling you, dude, it was very nice. But 2 years later, they were,
of course.
Poof. Yeah,
it's because they didn't want to transition into the different types of screens.
Yeah. They just didn't want to do it.
Yeah. They would still be crushing it today. I think.
I think so. I think
people still loved being able to do the keyboard.
I liked it. Again, it was my first phone. I think my first one was Nokia. When they came out with their phones.
We talked about this the other
Sweden or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I got my BlackBerry and I was like, man,
what was that one thing, dude? It was like it wasn't a phone yet, but it was like a digital.
You mean the pager? No.
It was after the pager, before the phone, before the iPhones, but it was like it wasn't a tablet. Gosh dang it, dude. The name's gonna come to me, but it was just like a freaking thing that you just wrote notes in, dude.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. It had the stylus pen.
It has a stylus pen, dude. It wasn't a phone. It was more like a note taker, dude.
Well, I know. I don't even know what the name of it is. It didn't last very long.
But it did not. The transition was so fucking quick.
There was a reason.
Yeah, there was a reason. There was like, wait a minute, I can do this on a phone.
With this?
and I had one of those for a minute. As a matter of fact, the phone industry did.
My God,
that was the very first non-brick phone that I had, and it was from this stupid device. And it'll come to me, and at the end of the freaking podcast, I'm gonna scream it out because it's gonna come to me.
The funniest thing in the world I ever saw coming up, being from Ohio, I had some cousins from Detroit, the Motor City.
Yeah,
my cousins rolled into town one day, man. And this is the first time I've ever seen anything like this. So you guys remember the Lincoln Continental?
Yeah. Hell yeah.
My cousin, man, he had the Lincoln Continental, man, like a cherry red or a burgundy with the drop back trunk, the whole thing, man.
Okay.
With the soft top.
This is in the 80s?
This was in the this was in the
drop
80s.
back is the
late 80s.
Yeah, early 90s.
Man, this thing was clean.
Yeah.
All right, with the spokes, clean.
Yeah.
But inside the car, he had the seats were conditioned, and he had the covering over the seats, the clear covering, so you could see the white seats. But it gets better. He had a hard-wired phone.
We're talking about this.
Hell yeah, man.
And
we should have brought Chaz on for this conversation.
Dude, I'm telling you, bro.
And I'm like, hang on now.
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah.
Right? I'm like, first of all, why do you need that?
Yeah.
And I didn't know exactly what he did.
Oh, you knew.
Oh,
You just ain't gonna say it. If you had a phone back then, you were doing something
well, he wasn't
illegal.
working. Let's put it this way: he wasn't working in corporate America.
Hell no.
But it was cool, man. But just going back to we were talking about earlier about when you meet people. Now you can literally, everybody's got a camera.
Yeah.
And you can snap pictures and do videos and do all these things. So when you're dealing with people, stature, if you want to say that. And again, to your point, Omar, it's a career.
Yeah.
It's what they do. It's not who they are. One of my best friends from high school has been a comedian for 35 plus years. Again, to quote the late Stuart Scott, cooler than the other side of the pillow. He's done a lot of great stuff in the industry. And what I appreciate the most is he's always, we talk, when we text or talk, I'm family to him. We kick it. Yeah. But when he's out in public, certain places, people recognize him, and that's that whole thing, right? Whether, are you going to go up and ask for the autograph? Are you going to take the picture, take the selfie, what have you? And when you're around people like that, I just feel like, you know what, man, just let them be who they are.
Yep.
And if they choose to engage and kick it, you'll find out they're really cool, right?
Yep.
And that's how I've, again, I was talking about stacking those experiences, right?
That's a powerful statement, Chaz. I don't think that's like money right there, bro. Like, because you're just talking, like, you say it very nonchalant, man, but I think young people in any industry, even me, like, when I say young, I don't think age young. I think industry young.
Sure, okay.
Like, I got into the freaking fitness at 38. I started coaching when I was 36.
Okay.
Then I realized, I really love it. But I'm 36, and I'm going into a boot camp style gym where the oldest coach in the room is
25.
22 years old, bro. And I'm like, I'm old enough to be your daddy. Like, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and so I was new to the industry. And so when you say the word stacking experiences, it's not just stacking experiences with the people that you're shaking hands with.
Yeah.
But it's just like the reps and sets that Jeff and I talk about from just any industry that you get into, right?
Absolutely.
You talk about not knowing the first thing about freaking setting up a F-45 or a gym on Ford Island, which is a freaking historical freaking base.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the perfect time to do it.
So what was great about that specific experience was a good dear friend of mine. Shout out to Staff Sergeant Nichols, Marine Corps. I still love him even though I'm Navy. It's like a brother.
There's this beef, bro. There's this beef, bro. There's this.
Listen,
if you've never worked on a military base, there's beef.
I just have to put it out there.
There's
but
beef.
what I would share with you guys is, again, stacking experiences. So literally, man, because he's my boy and a good buddy of mine, I've been a contractor most of my career. And he created this incredible opportunity for our servicemen and men and women called the Skill Bridge. The Skill Bridge program has been around, I want to say probably since the 70s, but there had never been a Skill Bridge into the fitness industry that I was aware of.
That's interesting.
And even, what's even crazy about this? I literally did this for myself as a career, had no idea I was doing it. I Skill Bridged while I was in the Navy and got into fitness. That's exactly what I did. But I didn't have the foresight to create an entire program. This brother did. So he created this entire system and submitted it as a program to the DOD, and it got approved.
Wow.
And so literally what happens is these guys, young men and women, I don't care where they are in the world, in a uniform, if they think they want to get into fitness, just like what GM would do or what Home Depot would do, you would, for the last 6 months of your contract, when you're planning to get out, as you're transitioning, you can skill bridge. Why? Because the military takes care of your salary because you're still in, and you can go and learn. You're a paid intern, but the company not paying a dime for your time. What they're investing is time in training you, coaching you, and teaching you. And then when you're done and your contract's just about up, you got an opportunity to get a job. And by the way, get paid a little bit higher than just someone coming off the street getting interviewed because you've been skill bridging for literally 6 months. So why would a company say no to that? And so it was brilliant. So he brought me in to kind of like just, kind of help, train up and coach up, the veterans. And it was meaningful work. But what he created and developed and what he brought, to the Marine Corps and to the military as a whole is outstanding. And I hope it continues to grow because it's needed. A lot of young people that get out, and they don't know what they're going to do. So having something to transition to while you're still figuring things out and the military still paying you is a beautiful concept.
This term skill bridge has been around just from overall, because I was a contractor for 14 years.
Okay.
My supply chain logistics. And I can tell you how underserved our veterans are getting out unless they do something like this. It is so crazy, man. It is like, because they're so used to the military way of doing things, when they get into like commercial businesses,
they don't know how to
act, bro. Like, it's just like, well, I'm waiting. And these are people that have served our country and have done very well, right? And now they're going into the civilian world where the structure is entirely different, even just from a supply chain logistics perspective, right? They would come in and it's like, well, they're used to pen and paper, and we're already on Excel spreadsheets and software.
So you make a great point, and this is something that I've told. I've had 3 uncles and a cousin. We just laid the rest that were all service members, Air Force, and respectfully, 20, 31 years of service. They all became successful in the civilian sector. And so they took the skill sets that they learned while they were in the Air Force and transitioned that into the careers they got into. For myself, again, I loved fitness. I was a track and field athlete, and in high school, I played, intramural college basketball. I was always moving. My mother had a story, and people used to ask her about me when I was young. She said, I don't know what he volunteered for. No, straight up. I was never home. In fact, she never really had to pay for anything either.
Yeah.
Like the coach would say, hey, you're on the team.
Yeah.
Hey, here's a uniform. Hey, I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
Like, do you think about the stuff that parents have to deal with their children today? God knows, we did that for our children.
Yeah.
I don't know how I got away with this. But what I do know is I was not good at the sitting still thing.
Yep.
And so when we were coming up, you know this, when you're coming up, your parents didn't really want to see you.
Hell no.
Right?
No.
So like straight up.
Send you out the front door in the morning.
Get the fuck out.
Come back before sunset.
When the lights come on,
You can come home.
your ass better be in the, right?
Yep.
You better come through, you better cross the threshold.
Yeah.
Outside of that, go get it.
Yeah.
And so that's exactly what I did.
Yeah.
And so I laugh, but let's circle back to the military thing. Like, when I went into service, I went because I wanted to, not because I had to.
Uh-huh.
But the one thing that I stand on to this very day about that experience was the order taking thing is cool.
Yeah.
But you got to learn how to collaborate.
Yep.
You got to learn how to communicate, and you got to learn how to get after it when told to do so.
Yeah.
But you also got to have a mind to get after it and get it done, right? So when you get orders, right, to your point about what these guys get when they're in versus what they get when they're out, in corporate America, it's a different mindset because people give a fuck about your feelings.
Mm-hmm.
See, in the military, that don't exist.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's either do it this way or don't. Period. And a lot of civilians who've never served, and by the way, our servicemen and women, I talk about the military, but also our firemen, our police, all of those folks, man, it's a different structure, but it's similar, right? There's an order to these things. But when you're in the civilian sector, sometimes there's no orders to some of the things that the CEO or the COO or sometimes there's just no order. If they think of something, they want to do it, they go do it. And if you question it, now you're a problem. But see, when the military, you didn't have to question it because you knew that order was coming from another source because everything starts at the top. So when you're getting out and you're trying to transition, you have to learn those soft skills so you can navigate those situations.
That was the biggest hurdle, dude.
Yeah.
One of my he's still my mentor to this day, or I haven't, but he's the one who kind of showed me around in logistics, Bruce Semeniak, and 25 years in the Marines. And this guy
Semper Fi.
Dude, he is like fucking real. He will always be the first person to walk in and the last person. I used to work 20 hours, bro. He would always be there before me and after me. This is the type of person.
Toes on the line, show up on the grinder.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah. And so he was one of those people, right? And I still admire him to this day. But he had a huge passion to bridge military people onto the civilian world. Like that was his thing. Like for me, I want to be of service to people in my neighborhood, to the community. Yeah. Like that's for me. That's what I like to do because of where I came from. For him, he understood that gap and really was like, he hammered it into my head. Like, Omar, this is how they're treated in the service. It was a form of, as he put it, institutionalization to these people that were like so used to being one way, and now they're out. And it's like, how do I behave? Like,
well, the structure. So the structure of the military, Jeff, is if you've been around any service member, I tell people all the time, listen, man, we had to do what had to get done.
Mm-hmm.
There were no maybes.
Yeah. It's just like you do.
You either do. Straight up. You either do or you don't.
Yeah.
And so I think that, for folks that have never served and don't understand service, we get people asking us all the time about, well, couldn't you have done it this way?
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Would have been
sweet.
smarter to do
That's
this way?
No.
But it's so true, dude, because you're sitting there like, dude, there's stuff that Bruce used to. I mean, I'll give you just one example, man, and I think this is why I appreciated being on a military contract and why I admire Bruce so much till this day. Mm-hmm. Is that we would do things like we were running a supply chain for the Navy Marine Corps internet, and so our jobs were to refresh computers, servers, and hardware for all of the network, the Navy Marine Corps internet, for their own internal network. And so that was our job. And so we would set up satellite warehouses, and we were in charge of doing it for the entire West Coast, Japan, Hawaii.
Outstanding.
And so that's what we did. And so when he first got the contract, I'm just fresh out of rehab, bro. And he's taking me on. And he's like, all right, we're going to do this, you do that. And and I didn't know this. I learned later. But he was like, you see that room upstairs? See how fucked up it is? Go unfuck it.
I love it.
And I'm like, I didn't know how to operate a computer. I didn't know Excel. I didn't know shit, dude. I literally just, and we're in this 2-story, like it's 120,000 square feet each floor. This is big old freaking supply chain, freight elevators that crank, and like from World War II, bro. It was just fucking asinine, right?
Wow.
And so he sends me up to this 5th floor. And I'm looking, and you literally are walking like in a while, like you couldn't even. I don't know how they got the product in there, dude. And so I'm like, fuck, all right. So I just start moving, dude. And next thing you know, somebody else comes next to me, and he's like, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm organizing these. These are blue seats. These are red seats. And I'm just like, and he's literally in the back corner just watching me, bro. He didn't say shit to me.
Yeah.
The person that reported directly into him, his name is David Eifred. He's also a good friend and mentor of mine still. He would be like, he's like, Bruce went up to him. He's like, that's your guy.
That's what's up.
I want to cry right now, dude, because I'm nobody at this point, right?
But that's what's up.
I'm nobody. I'm literally a temp agent. I was working minimum wage, and I didn't even know if I really wanted to be there because I was like, I just came out of rehab and I was working at Coca-Cola, making $100,000, and I'm at rehab making minimum wage now at some temp job. On base, bro. And so he's like, that's your guy. And I didn't know this. And so he goes, and later on, like, I did that. I fixed the whole floor, organized it all. And he was like, this is good shit. He walks away and he sends me on. Sends me to another section. Unfuck that. And I unfucked it, right? And that's the type of person he was. So when I got after 3 weeks into it, I did not know this. They literally had it, and they had everybody. There was like 100 of us, and he corralled everybody up. And he's like, all right. He goes, I'm going to call people by your name. If I called your name, you're going to stand over here. If I don't call your name, you're going to stand over here. There's like 100 of us, and he's just start rattling names. Da, 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 da. And I'm like, this is it. I'm done.
Yeah, I think
I'm
okay.
out. Like, this is like, he's calling. He hasn't called my name. And there's like, he calls like 60% of the people that were in the room, and they're all standing that side. and the other 40%, I'm in the 40. Done. And he goes, if I called your name, clear your lockers, get the fuck out. And I'm fucking like, oh shit. Like, oh shit. Like, oh, this is fucking happening. Like,
Whoa.
and dude, it's like the threats, bro, they were gonna freaking, dude.
Wow.
And these are two white guys. The greater majority of the people in there were all minorities, bro. Like in the 90s, right?
Wow.
And so he's like, no, dude. And I stand next to him, and I'm like, and I'm still like, I'm a big guy, right? And he goes, you got my back? I said,
You got my back.
yeah, I got you, bro. like, I got you.
So what I got?
And they're like, fuck you. They were just like, just ready to kick some ass, bro. Like, I was like, there was going to be a full-on riot, right? And nothing happened, thank God. But that, to stacking experiences, right?
Yeah.
And so he comes back in, and he's like, I've been watching you for the last 3 weeks. You are now the assistant distribution manager of this facility.
Well done.
And I was just like,
well done.
This is the shit that he did, dude.
Yeah.
And the same guy, he was like, okay, now we unfucked it all. We're gonna restructure the whole floor. So after I unfucked it, I made it manageable. It wasn't like completely. He goes, we're gonna restructure the floor. And I go, in 48 hours, he says.
Oh.
120,000 square feet of nothing but computers and hardware that we had to move through 2 freight elevators that were rinky-jinky as fuck. We had a forklift. We had 10 pallet jacks and 2 forklifts, one on the bottom floor, one on the top floor. And we emptied the entire floor through these 2 elevators, painted lines, reorganized the whole thing in 48 hours, dude. We did not sleep.
This is pressure training.
Ooh.
That's amazing, man.
But this is the shit, right? Stacking experiences that Chaz
because why? Because when I was in, man, I was on a small boat. We decommissioned this boat, but I worked with Navy Dive, and so one of our big jobs back then, we were part of I think it's gone now, but it was called the Amphibious Submarine Rescue, ASR. We're part of the ASR fleet. I knew nothing about this stuff. Okay? Nothing. Yeah.
Always the best stories when you don't. When you go in a situation you don't know shit.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm a black kid from Ohio. I'm water, ocean. I know. Look, I read my Navy book with the anchors in it. I'm learning, and they're telling me all this. I'm tying the knots. They had this knot tying test. I'm like, we're gonna use. Well, guess what? We used all of it. So we get to the boat, man. Our first op, and we got a stage. We got to get ready. We're gonna do a anchor drop testing. Test the anchors, drop the anchors, do this with it. It's called the 4-point moor. It was my very first one. Holy shit. So, okay, what do we got to do? Well, we get the measurements, we get the thing, the CO sends out the order. We're going to be going this way, this way, this way, this way. I said, why are we doing that? Well, when we do this, we're going to drop an anchor there, drop an anchor there, drop an anchor there, drop an anchor there, 4-point moor.
Okay.
Oh, why? Because the boat sits in the middle. What's underneath us? The submarine. Bro, that was first time out. So it was well, this was the test. It was a lot of training. And what was cool about it was, I'm like, oh my God. So you talk about pressure under fire. What boot camp does for you is it prepares you to do what needs to get done, take an order, and get after it. And you don't get to think.
Yeah.
You get an order, it's act.
Don't think.
Okay? It's act. Don't get to question. See, in civilian life, I've dealt with a lot of people like this over my career. They like to question, keep offering questions. Like, I pretty much, if you don't want something done, do not ask me.
I love it.
I mean, that's real talk. And listen, to some people, that might be offensive.
Yeah.
That might, they might feel some kind of way about that. But I honestly, guys, I don't know how else to be because I was trained that way. And the interesting thing about that, what I didn't tell you guys, was in college, I had already done 1.5 years of Air Force ROTC before I ever went into the Navy. So I had been trained like that. Oh, my mentor was my stepfather and my 2 uncles that had served, and then my cousin that had served. That had been my life. So when I deal with people a certain way and they get all like freaked out and butthurt, it's like
that's your bad.
This is I feel for you.
You're bad.
I feel for you.
Yeah, bad.
So the conversation we're having, it kind of, I mean, we're all fit in that same genre, right? The generational thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as I'm sitting here listening to your stories and Omar's stories about going back and forth, and we talk about respecting, the celebrity aspect of it, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Stacking experiences. I start to think right now during this point in time, it's like, as we look at the younger generation, like, the Gen Zs and the Gen Alphas that are younger now, and they're growing up in this completely different world.
Yeah.
I guess from your opinion or your mindset, do you think it's harder for younger individuals to stack experiences in this sense now? Because, and I look at it as everybody's so tied to their devices now.
Sure.
Digital age.
Sure.
And not able to really get out and experience the, what's around you. Like we talked about, like growing up in the Midwest, like, hey, you get up in the morning, your parents send you out the door, come back,
come back to the lights turn on, bitch.
Yeah.
Dinner's at 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
Be home by dinner.
Yeah.
And you're gone. And yes, that does happen today. You see kids out and about, but
Different.
I almost feel, again, listening to the conversations here, like, do you think it's harder for those younger individuals right now to stack experiences and actually like see what's going on in the world because they're so focused on what's on in front of them?
I'm going to give you two. I'm going to give you two answers.
Yeah.
The first answer, as a parent, my three kids are awesome. They're all different. They were raised in the same house, by the way, but they're completely different. But the one thing I always told them about this life, being a man of color, living in this country, growing up where I grew up, being so close to the South, and learning all the history that my grandmother, shared with me before she left this world. You're not gonna get anywhere being in the same room all the time.
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay.
Ooh, say it again.
I'm just saying.
Say it again. Say it again.
You ain't gonna be anywhere being in the same room all the time. You have got to get out of your comfort zone. You have to shake it. And you may have some friends in school, speaking to my children, you're gonna have some white friends, some black friends, some Asian friends, some Latino friends. You're gonna have, especially being in California. Where I came from, being from the Midwest, it was black folks, it was white folks, and it was everybody else that we didn't even talk to. Right? It was where we grew up, right? That's it. And so I think for me as a kid back then, I knew it was like, I gotta shift this narrative.
Yep.
And I may not be able to shift it living here. I need to bounce. And I had an uncle that was married to a lady from Turkey, and my cousins all spoke different languages, and they would come visit us. And that was kind of my first exposure to an international kind of way of living, where you could like still be American, go see the world, speak these languages. And I thought it was cool. I was like, this is cool. Our kids have to learn how to embrace things like that. Get that different. They really need to do that. And yes, they have access to a lot of things. And for those of us who are parents of a certain age, who have kids who haven't had to deal with grit, adversity, because we always save them, right?
Yep.
That's the problem. See, what we had to deal with was adversity, right? We couldn't just pick up the phone or text our mamas. In fact, they wouldn't even have answered the phone.
No.
They wouldn't have picked up. Man, are you dead?
Yeah.
No. Then figure it out.
Yep.
Now, unfortunately, and listen, I want to give a shout out to folks that deal with whatever they're dealing with personally, especially these young people, the anxiety, the depression, or what they perceive it to be.
Yes.
Or what that looks like for them. I'm not going to say it doesn't exist for them, but I will tell you a lot of this is because they haven't been challenged in this life to have grit, to deal with adversity, to understand that just because somebody says something about you some kind of way, that ain't got nothing to do with you. That's got to do with them, right? So that's my first answer. I used to tell my kids this all the time. I said, you need to learn something real quick. They don't care about you. They never did. You're concerned about something you need not have concern over. Now, how do you figure that out? You shift, you pivot, you reset. You may have to change your circle. You might have to get rid of some people.
Yep.
You're not going to like that because that's right. That's that uncomfortable. But you guys already know if you really want to be successful in this life and you only get one, you better get used to being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because it's the only way. And these kids, they need to understand you're going to have to be uncomfortable. It's not going to be easy, man. There's no straight line to people's success. There never has been. And all these people they admire on their social media platforms that they think are the bee's knees and they got, right? Find out their story. How much do you really know about who that person is or the celebrity? How much do you know? I would do that. And I used to lean into that too myself when I was coming up. I wanted to know. I was very, very, I didn't realize this at the time. Now I do. I was super curious. I was like, hey, man, how did he get there? How did she?
Yeah.
How? I wanted to, there are some kids out there that are amazing. I've met some amazing young people who are curious and they want to see.
And I'm not taking away from those people, right?
Yeah.
I think from the question that we bring up is that's the general consensus that that there's so much of this going on that they're not leaving their room. They're sitting inside for too long, or if they're outside, they're doing this. You're at lunch with some friends and you see these college kids or high school kids and they're all like the three of us sitting around. They're all doing this, right?
They're not
talking to one another.
And that's one thing.
And that's
you make a great point.
Yeah, that is the overall arcing outlook of what this generation is.
The fortunate thing for us, we came up at the time where we had analog, right? We had a phone book, and we kind of learned how to use this technology differently because we were not born with it.
Yeah.
These kids were born with it. I'll never forget the conversation I used to have with their mom when they were younger about when they were actually going to get a phone. That was an actual conversation. We said, well, let's go double digits. When they get to 10, now why did they need the phone? We would pick them up from practice. They had we had practical reasons to having it. But to your point, the industry right now is going through it because they're realizing that because remember, their brains are not fully formed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Until,
let's not forget, especially for the young men.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Then you've got the trolling and all this stuff they call it. I don't know all the terminology of someone who you've never met
talking shit about you,
saying a little something about you.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Right. When we was coming up,
that was handled.
That
was handled differently.
Hold on, bro. If you had something to say,
just say it.
I'll see you at the closing bell of school.
Yeah, exactly.
On the sidewalk, at the playground. We can squash this
real quick.
The fuck now. So, right? And I'm telling you, in a lot of our beefs growing up back then, that's how things got handled. Now it's this emotional attachment to the issue, and sometimes it lingers so long for some of these young people because of social media, unfortunately. And it's not social. It's anything but that.
It's technology.
To me, it's antisocial.
Yeah.
They need these skill sets. In answer to your question, I think that the younger generation, I'm going to say 30 and under, what they need to get really good at is learning how to be their best selves, right? For themselves, whatever that looks like. I tell young people all the time, man, listen, find a mentor. I just had the great opportunity to work with my oldest son, who's 23 now, and he did a thing with me with the American Cancer Society. I didn't tell him all the information. I just said, you need to come up to LA. Well, Dad, I got to work. I got to this, I got to that. I said, and I'm grateful that I felt like, his mom and I raised him well enough where he was like, if my dad is asking, I probably should go.
Yeah.
Straight up, man. So wait, this is a beautiful story because what it goes to is, yes, these young people have these distractions with their devices and everything. But if you were a good parent or you had a good mentor and you were able to give them a little something, they remember those stories. And so he showed up, had the driver pick him up, comes up to L.A. We shoot this beautiful series on prostate cancer. And the actress that was in the shoot, her name is Tia Moore, she's a great actress. She was in Sister Sister. She's got a twin, this whole thing. And we were chopping up. It was a great set. But what was really cool was to watch my son when I wasn't on camera, watching him doing his thing. He's 23 now, and I remember him when he was a little guy. And the fact that he made a decision as a young person to do something that he didn't know all the details to, because the problem we have right now with these kids is they think they know everything.
Because they got it on their fingertips.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
They think they know everything.
Because ChatGPT said it or because Google
said it. And woe be it to God if you ever told them that they didn't know anything.
Yep.
And I had a conversation with my other son, and he literally was like, telling me how it was and how it was going to be. And I said, which part of this life do you think I haven't experienced that you're right at the ripe old age of 19? And he paused and he was, but you always say that. I said, yeah, because I'm double your age.
Yeah.
And so to your point, I think it comes down to, man, for these younger folks in our society, what we as a collective can continue to do is to remind them, not just, bro, we ain't trying to tell you what to do. We're just trying to give you some guidance. Stop being offended.
Yeah.
You should be grateful that we want to talk to your dumb ass.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I got good people in my life. I don't need to talk to you.
Yeah.
I don't even have to like you.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, you're the future of our society. And I think if more people walked around doing that and stopped ignoring them, because this is a big piece of me that I see a lot of. These young people being ignored by our generation because we just don't want to deal with it. But I say all the time, man, just deal with them.
We have to.
Just remind them. By the way, they need this mentoring.
Yeah.
They need it. They don't have to want it or like it, but they need it because that's what we got.
Yeah.
I think there's this show called Social Dilemma. We've talked about it.
Yeah, on Netflix. Yeah.
Netflix.
I don't know that one.
Yeah, you got to watch it.
Okay.
It's a great series.
It's all about the
This-
social
this
media,
aspect
and how it's like changed everything from
And
the
it-
mentality of
of
people to the way the world is run. And it's very
It's
interesting.
very
I'll check it out.
interesting.
I will.
And because they're interviewing the people that actually developed a lot of the social media platforms.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
so the maker, the creator of the like button,
Good God.
the creator of
That's
that was
amazing.
like the programmer of Facebook and Meta and all these things.
Wow.
And ironically, the takeaway from those people that they interviewed is that these people have kids, and do they allow their kids to be on social media?
And the answer is no.
And the answer is fuck no.
I did.
Yeah.
And
Fuck no.
Exactly.
It's fuck no. Like
But
they don't. Yeah, they didn't want to do that, right?
Yeah.
And so
yeah.
I mean,
Wow.
and the sad part about this whole thing that my takeaway from the whole series, and I encourage every parent to watch this. Every parent, if you're a parent or even somebody that you're trying to mentor that's young, you need to watch this fucking show, because my biggest takeaway was that these people didn't even want their own children to be on there, but the initial development of social media and all this technology was to bring the world together.
Yeah,
I need a
definitely.
drink.
Right? Yeah, right. That was their whole concept, right?
It was,
It's
yeah.
to bring the world together. And how freaking far apart are we right now?
Yeah.
Right? And so you sit there and you go, exactly, wow, right? And you're like, and so like watch the fucking show, watch the show, because if you don't, you will walk away with a different perspective on, like, you mentioned a very valid point, Chad. We don't want to deal with it. Like, I have 6 kids.
Good
right?
God, my man.
And so
right.
What's the, I have to ask. Hold on now. Let me clear my
You be shocked.
What's that?
you'll
What's
be
that?
shocked.
Just let me clear my throat.
Yeah.
What's
be
the
shocked.
age range, bro?
All right. So my oldest is 32 and my youngest is 27.
God bless you.
27.
Man. God bless you.
Right.
You're my
So-
hero.
right.
I only had
Yeah,
3.
Yeah. And so
They kicking my ass.
Well, I have 3 biological, and then I married my wife who has 3, and so I blended a
Outstanding.
family.
Outstanding.
Little. So
Good man.
all of them are all mine. I claim them all. Right? I got the
Good
tax.
man.
I got the tax and
Good
the freaking
man.
student loans to prove it. Okay,
They're on the
Like,
payroll.
they're all mine. Right? They're all on the payroll. damn
On
it.
payroll.
Right? And so, like, ironically, when I raised my kids, and this is my ex-wife parented one way and I parented another way.
Yeah.
And so that's just how it is. And it one wasn't better than the other. I just believed that life could slap my kids a hell of a lot fucking harder than I could.
That's what's up.
Right?
That's
And
a
so,
great, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I remember, like, I think I spanked my kids maybe like once or twice, and each one I can count them on one hand.
Sure.
Like and I remember that, and when I did spank them, my kids were like, I clearly remember my daughter going, "Dad, you don't need to spank me more. I will do what you tell me to do."
Well, spanking's an attention getter.
Yeah, 100%. It was just
and
like,
and I was raised, remember,
Yeah.
My family's from the Jim Crow South.
Oh yeah. You got your butt whooped.
Let me hit you. Let me hit you with this.
Yeah.
And especially my grandmother, man. And I love Fannie S. Davis. Shout out to my grandmother, man. Let me tell you this, bro. She literally, if she couldn't get to you because she wasn't as nimble as she once was. But this is what would happen. We did some stuff that was out of pocket. She would give you orders to go out to the tree
and go get your own stick
to get your switch.
Yep.
And don't come in here with that weak shit, because now you're going to get it twice.
Like, bro, that shit happened to me.
Can you imagine?
awesome.
Can you imagine?
The trauma.
The
trauma, bro. The fucking trauma.
So, but I laugh because my children, man, and I, all due respect to their mother, my ex-wife, but I will tell you, that was a conversation we had.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget it. She was like, "What do you do? That's not necessary."
Yeah.
I said, "Well, it kind of is."
Yeah.
But again, because that's how I was brought up. Yeah. And she was not brought up that way.
Yeah.
And she was just like, we had words about it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, to your point, it's like, what does it take to get your messaging across when you're talking to or dealing with young people in this life? And maybe, it doesn't have to be corporal punishment, but what it does need to do, it needs to be firm. Yeah. It needs to be direct, and it needs to be intentional. And when I tell someone something about something I'm doing, even in my work now, I mean exactly what I say. I know exactly what needs to get done. I know how it needs to get done. The problem is, young person, you don't know because you haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
We're speaking from experience. Even to your point, even with the discipline, right? We're coming from a place of experience. And, the old folks where I grew up, being from the South and being around them, and I used to watch them get after it. And I was like, you know what? That's just flat out hard work, and whatever that looks like. And they didn't have time to give you a blanket for your feelings.
Yeah.
They really didn't.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. I think when you talk about the whole disciplinary and the youth aspect of things and what society has done, social media and technology has done to our youth, I think it's just a different perspective of what hard and challenging is.
100%.
And so it's like you sit there and like Chantel from Handles. Shantae. She changed my perspective. That episode changed my perspective on our youth because she, Handles is the ice cream.
Yeah, I know who they are. Yeah.
And so all they do is hire young kids in school.
That is true.
That's their number one thing,
model,
right? And so her perspective on the youth is like they're dealing with hard things, but it's not the same type of hard that we dealt with.
Not at all.
Right? And so
not at all.
They really, I think today's youth just wants somebody like us who has the reps and sets of life,
100%.
right? To kind of just be like, okay, yeah, you know what? And I do this with my kids all the time. My son's going through some stuff right now too. And it's like, Jeff knows. And so I'm just sort of like, oh, you might want to not do that. You can do what you want. You're grown. You can do you. but like, just know that it's going to end up here. But
Dude,
you don't want to believe me?
Yeah.
I said, you can do it yourself and then figure it out when you get there. Like, and then so now he knows. Now he's getting fucking smart to this shit, dude. Because now he's like, hey, Dad. And I'm like, yeah, what do you think's going to happen here? I'm like, I'm not a fortune teller, but you know what I mean? Like,
let me go get,
But that goes back to the whole analogy of like, these kids nowadays are dealing with their own version of hard, right?
Sure.
Which is not as hard. It's not as hard as us because we didn't have technology, because we had to be outside, because we went to go get our own switches to get our asses.
Well, we had to go figure it out.
We have to go figure it out, right?
Like we literally had to go figure it out. There was no I get it. I understand, man, where people come from and they say, well, hey man, it's this, hey man, it's that. It was this, it was that. I said, no. See, I want you to go introspective.
Yeah.
Look at yourself.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's hard.
What you doing, how you doing it, where you doing it, who you doing it with.
Yeah.
Why are you doing it that way?
Yeah.
Ask yourself those 3 or 4 questions, and you're gonna come to this realization that that's probably me.
Yeah. Yeah. And 90% of it is, right? And then,
yeah.
And so I think being around some folks like us that have the reps and sets in of things like entrepreneurs, and I think I get this comment a lot. It's like I was having a shitty day and I wanted to just go to the gym so I can be around you. Right? And it's like, oh, that's cool.
That's dope.
That's dope, right? That created this environment for people to come in and just kind of just have this this realization of like,
Absolutely.
and I could be having a freaking shitty day too. Like, and I that happens. I'm like, yo, Jeff, let's get a freaking workout in, right? Let's go do something.
But being
right?
in that environment, to
Yeah.
your point, I'm sure you guys are all this way. That's why I laughed so hard when I saw your post the other night. That was awesome, you guys. Well, look like it's couples night. You have no idea. That brought me some joy.
Yeah.
I laughed so hard. I was like, that's legit.
Yeah.
But again, it's like, some days, man, and I want to bring this because I'd be remiss if I didn't say this. So people ask me, your question earlier when we started was about like, what's my messaging for about why people should tune in or listen or understand where I'm coming from. This cancer thing, man, for men in general, right? Prostate cancer is 1 in 6, 1 in 8, 1 in 6 if you're a man of African descent may get diagnosed with some form
1 in
prostate.
6.
1 in 6, some form of prostate cancer.
It's crazy.
1 in 8 men in general might be diagnosed with this cancer. So what does that go to? Well, it goes to your overall health. So having a physical, getting a PSA, what I do on my social media stuff, I talk about, early detection saves lives. Well, as parents and as men, as mentors, right? Early intervention saves lives, especially when you're talking to young men who are trying to deal with young women, or when you're talking to young women who are trying to deal with young men.
Yeah.
Straight up, right? Okay, listen, here's the deal. I'm going to intercede here. I'm not going to tell you, to your point with your son, I ain't going to tell you what to do. But I'm going to consult you on how to shift your mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps you don't need to go do that tonight. Maybe you should try this tonight. Or maybe you should call your boys and have them come to the crib and y'all can hang out, kicking, smoke or whatever, instead of rolling out to wherever y'all going to roll out to. Because it sounds like, that couldn't be good tonight, right? Things like that. So with cancer, what I found out when I first went in and got my testing done, I had been proactively taking care of my health since I was 18, 19 years old because I made a conscious decision to do so.
How old? Let me get back.
Sorry.
How old were you when you prostate cancer? I think
So,
you said this. But
yeah, my diagnosis was on my birthday. And my birthday is in April. I'm an Aries.
So you were 40?
I was 45.
Okay,
Yeah,
so fucking young.
Week of my 45th birthday.
Okay.
Now, again, yes, that was young. And not only was it young, man, bro, listen, I was about 190, 195 pounds. I was like, between 6 and 8% body fat. I was getting after it. And we were, their mom and I were raising these 3 amazing kids. And she's got her career. I've got my career. Like this, I didn't go looking for this. Straight up, I didn't go looking for this. And so for me, I just went in to talk to my new doctor. My ex, she probably still laughs to this day. There's not much she thinks I'm funny about, but this was one she was like, you need to get a real doctor. Because I had a buddy. No, straight up.
We're in the back alley.
No, but he wasn't a voodoo doctor. He was just my buddy, man. He was a DO, right? And DOs are not MDs, but they have all the training. They just didn't go take the exam. And that was my dude, man. Because literally, I would go in. We just like we're sitting here chopping it up, have a conversation. Get my blood test. Get a little physical. Pop my knees. Check things out. Get the fuck out of here. You're done, right? But I got past 40 and I started, remember I talked about being a fitness coach, right? So, for 25 years, I've been in fitness and personal training and athletic training. I was like, you know what? I probably need to up my game on my physical checks because now I'm past 40. And I was pretty fit, but I'm like, yeah, let's do that. So I hired this internist who was a sports medicine internist. This dude was legit. And Dr. Rex, man, shout out to Dr. Rex. Because literally, I go to this session with him, and he's like, "Fuck do you want?" No, I swear to God. I said, "Well, look, Doc, like for real, man. Listen, she's on my ass. Is there anything else outside of the standard battery test I need to do?" Fine, all right. So we do. Back then they called it a DRE, so digital rectal exam, and then your PSA, which is your standard blood test. I'll do that for you. We do it, bro. 72 hours later, he called me. That's how crazy this was. Fuck you want? He said, I need you to come to the office. I'm fucking busy. He's like, no, Chaz, straight up. I need you to come to the office. No. This is when we were living in Orange County. I'm like, all right, fine. I didn't like that tone. So I go. Get in the office. We're sitting there. We're chilling. We're chopping it up. He said, look, man, the test I did for you, I don't like. I want to run another. And then I need you to go, like, directly to the biopsy center, and we're going to pull some samples. I know what that means because I'm in fitness. You're going to take some muscle? He said, yeah, I got it. Yeah. They're going to numb you up. They're going to pull some samples for me. I need to test this and see if these numbers I'm seeing are true.
Yeah.
Right? Because I was at that time, I was like, I think my Gleason score was like 7.5 to like 9.5, trending up. Like trending up. I'm like, what does that mean? I knew, first of all, I knew I had a prostate. I didn't know what it was or what it did.
Right.
I hadn't even really heard of it. Like, it wasn't something we talked about. Now, I want to give you guys some context. Breast cancer, everybody knows what that is.
Yep.
And knows someone. I didn't know anybody that ever had prostate cancer. How many men you have in your life?
I know one guy.
How many men you have in your life? How many of them told you something about their prostate?
No.
Yeah.
That's my point.
Yeah.
So nothing.
You're the second guy that I know that had prostate cancer.
But nothing, man. And
you
so,
don't really talk about it.
Oh my goodness, it was nothing. I'm like, whew. So long story short, as soon as I found out, I had a very emotional day that day, to say the least.
Absolutely.
I'm sitting in my ride, called my wife at the time, and kind of gave her the news, and she happens to be in healthcare. She was like, well, you need to go get a second. Okay. I went and got a second. I even got a third. They both confirmed what the first said.
At this point, what was the initial prognosis of your diagnosis? Like
early stage.
Okay.
3, 4. So stage 4, in some cases for people that's stage 4, it could be what's called metastatic. It could have spread outside of the containment area. I was right at the border.
Oof.
Like right on the edge. And I caught it, literally caught it. You know how you're driving your car, man, and you're on fresh rain, and the roads, and you know that if you go too fast, right? So don't slam on the brakes, pump the brakes. I was pumping the brakes to going into stage 4. I was literally right there. Like, and from the time he diagnosed me to the time I did those tests, like, I had no idea how much this was going to accelerate. And then now I'm pissed. So now I got to start doing research on this whole thing. And I got everybody giving me their opinion. I didn't give a fuck about everybody's opinion. I decided I needed to find out on my own.
Yep.
So I really started digging into what the prostate was, how it operated, why men of color got it, almost 3 times more than others, and sometimes it just didn't even go report it. Some of these dudes died from the prostate cancer. Some people say, "Oh, he had the diabetes. He had to." No, his fucking prostate was killing him, and he didn't know what to do because he wouldn't go get checked.
Yeah,
or he wouldn't do it. That's what happened for me.
Is it a genetic thing for men of color?
That's a great question. What I do know is this: having served in the military too, by the way, was a factor. So I checked 2 boxes before it was even.
How was serving in the military?
Because, oh man, the work we do in some of the spaces that we do it in, we're in compromised situations. We're in places where the barrier around us is steel, and there's no airflow, and you're dealing with chemicals and you're dealing with supplies. So who knows exactly what causes it? But the military has actually seen where there's been some issues. There's a ton of lawsuits out there about different things that we as servicemen and women have been exposed to that the average civilian would never get exposed to. And who knows what it does to your DNA over time, but surely there's a connection. And they made that connection for me for some of the work I did when I served. But going back to your earlier question, right now I sit on several committees for this, and we talk about genomic testing and things like that. The average citizen, man, they're never going to get access to this. They have to get educated on it. But the genetic testing teaches you what might be in your DNA line. So my boys will have to be tested at 35 because I was 45, just to make sure they're good, right? But the jury's still out on what causes a prostate to enlarge.
Does that prove for just prostate from what you've seen, or is it, like you said, your boys are gonna have to get tested at 35? They're gonna do a gamut of tests to make sure there's no cancer cells anywhere else, or is it just prostate you're talking about
so
here?
what it'll do is first and foremost, I advocate for everyone. I don't care where you're from, what your background is, go get a physical. Get an annual physical.
Yep.
Know your numbers. You know your numbers, you're good. Know your numbers. Know your blood pressure. By the way, all cholesterol is not bad cholesterol. People talk about that all the time.
Yep.
Come on, man. Your brain is like one big giant cholesterol blob, right? But it really comes down to, getting tested to find out where you're at, right? Where are you? What is your genetic makeup annually? Blood levels, blood pressure, diabetes, sugar levels, all of those things. Find those out first. Then from there, if they want to do special batteries of tests. So for us, it's what are our prostate levels, right? What are our, antigen levels? If the blood is too high, there's an issue there. You got to check that, right? But it doesn't rise to cancer. And this is the other thing. I don't want to scare people. I'm just basically saying, go get checked, see if you're good. And if you're good, fuck off. Go live your life, right? But if those numbers are up there, because right away what they say is you can actively surveil if your prostate levels are high, but not so high where they're telling you you've got stage 1.
Yeah.
If you're not staged, you're good. And there are things you can do to not have your prostate be elevated, right? There are things you can do. You definitely got to change your nutrition, right? You definitely need to be moving your body.
That's what I thought, like maybe from like African Americans more likely, right? It's a dietary, because our dietary supplementation and culture from a culture perspective is different, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
it is,
Mexicans, we're going to be eating beans and freaking carne asada and fucking pig intestines and pig feet. And,
from the South.
Same thing,
listen,
right?
Man,
and so it's
fried food, come on now.
Yeah. And so you get all the different cultural foods, and that's the part that kind of intrigues me a little bit when we talk about genetically dispositioned, or us, when you hear like, okay, African Americans are most likely to get prostate cancers. Mexicans are most likely to have diabetes, like those kind of things, right? And so is it our food? Is it something in the way we behave? Is it genetics?
It's a combination of the three. That's a great question. In fact, I sit on a committee right now with the AUA, and we are working with what, if you want to call it, I don't like using the word disadvantage, rural communities and things like that, where they're not getting access to care immediately. And so and some of it, to your point, is how are they eating? How are they living? What type of work do they do? All of those things are factors. I think the food thing, the genetics of whatever's happening with our food.
Well, that's the other side of everything that we talk about. Is like, and what the U.S. allows to go in their food versus what 100%. Everyone else.
100%.
That's what drives me fucking bonkers, with the fact of, okay, you're allowing these food colorings, these preservatives, these everything to go into the U.S. foods, and when you look at Europe, it's like they don't allow any of this shit.
I haven't still figured out why, though. That's what I struggle with.
Even in Mexico, dude, you go to Mexico, they have this new tagging system from any products.
Yeah.
You go in, and it's just like we're looking at this container of Bubs. It'll have, like, if Bubs, Bubs is a pretty clean product, but if Bubs had any kind of sugar, there would be a warning sign: excessive sugar.
Yeah. That's what's up.
And you go to the grocery store, and you're literally like, excessive sugar, excessive fat, and you can't miss it. They're big old freaking fat labels.
And why does the U.S. not do that shit? That's what drives me fucking crazy.
I have an answer.
Go for it.
Lobbying.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
No, I've been to DC.
Yeah.
I've been to Sacramento.
It's fucking
lobbying, terrible. and listen, these dudes are good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They're good at sowing that bullshit.
Yeah.
And if it's anything that ties to, because the company I work for now, we are in the peptide space, and we are a bioscience company, and when we have our huddles, we specifically talk about this. We will never compromise our ingredients. We will never let anybody tell us how to do what we do. My CEO stands 10 toes down on that. We want to make sure that people understand what we're offering is okay for you.
Yeah,
as best as we can do it. Right. Yeah. We had a whole skin sample session the other day, and I learned so much about that. And unfortunately, in answer to your question, I think the challenge is that for years, oh good God, for years, some of these big companies, I'm not going to name their names, but they found a way to get stuff that they wanted to go to market in this country approved.
It's scary. It's kind of scary. It's scary.
It's fucking scary.
It's scary.
I'm sorry.
It's scary. Yeah.
Look, listen. I literally, I have this rule now. If I can't see you cooking, I'm probably not going to.
Yeah.
That's solid.
I'm
Actually.
I'm serious. Like I love my girl. We were out dinner the other night. Pretty good sized bill. She's like, oh my God. It's like, yeah, but my best friend's the executive chef.
Yeah, so I trust that.
I had that filet. That filet was legit.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
But listen, if I'm gonna eat it, I want to know who's cooking it. And honestly, man, it's hard for me because actually it's not that hard. You know, I don't buy a lot. I have a European lifestyle.
Yeah.
I go to eat. I eat a small meal out. I might cook every blue moon at the house. I'd rather just have somebody cook my food for me.
Yeah.
And I know what I'm getting and I understand it. Now I can listen, I'm in a great position to do so. But, you know, unfortunately, to your point, I think in Europe, they just don't allow that to be the case. They buy what they need for a few days, and they go back.
That's the thing is like, just look at the breads and everything else. Their breads are so much cleaner there.
I don't even eat bread,
and it's kind of one of those things you can go there and you don't have to worry about all the other shit that they put into it. Yeah. And it's
how many overweight people do you know in Europe?
Fucking exactly.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Dad. I mean,
exactly.
I'm like, bro, for real. Like, how many, like, really, how many overweight people do you see?
Yeah.
And they don't, you know, the Europeans call it making exercise. They don't really make exercise. They don't like get after it like we get after it here.
No.
They do it, they have it, but they walk.
Yeah. They walk everywhere.
They you know.
Well, that's the other thing for us is
they walk, they sleep, they drink a little bit. You know, but they're not crazy. And if you ever watch a European soccer match, how many fat people do you see in the stands watching the match?
Yeah.
Unless they live in the pub.
Watch. That's different. But what? That's a whole. But watch. You know, any American sports league that we have, and look at the stands, bro.
Yeah.
I think when you talk about going back to your conversation of cancer. And like we got off from tangent of talking about food and all that other stuff, right? And I think it's very important. When you got your diagnosis, you see you were teetering on the edge of 4.
Yeah.
What would be the recommendation other than just getting checked? Like, because I think normalizing checks, like we have a friend who
we went and got I got my colonoscopy for the first time.
Good man.
Last year.
Right.
Omar's had he's had history with it, so he gets it. Period. Like
every 5 years,
every 3 to 5 years,
regularly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so we had a friend of ours who was adamant not to do it. Finally, went out and did it. I'm glad he did.
Yeah.
You know, he was.
By the way, Jeff has to grow a skullet now because of it.
Yeah, I eventually.
Oh, you lost the bet?
Yeah.
Oh, I want to see this. When is this going to start?
Yeah.
Probably,
I'm going to continue to bring it up
after our vacation in June.
Yeah.
But he's delaying it.
I'm delaying it for sure.
Kicking the can down.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's gonna fucking be.
Sorry.
2027. Here we go.
You remember that bet I
for
made?
2027?
Yeah.
It's gross skull, but it was one of those things. Like I was like, I'll do it if you go and get a colonoscopy. And finally, he did it, and
that's what's up.
It's kind of one of those things where, and my wife is in the health field, and she's all about like trying to get me to go and do things, and I've kind of learned like actually
every good woman is
hearing Omar's his history of health and having to go all the time actually pushed me to
go do it.
Want to go and do it.
Good.
Just because I was like, all right, well, and then now my dad has now gone through bladder cancer and all that stuff. He's gotten past it, which is great, but now I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Now I got to really start looking
because
at
it might be in your
exactly.
Yeah.
So
but you got to like. I think it's like I talk about just the question was going to be like other than just telling people to go get checked. Like I think the biggest thing that I think we can do as men, whether you're no matter where your situation or where you're from culturally, right? Sure. The biggest thing I think we can do as men is normalize the conversation.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. This is one of my favorite subjects because he knows a little bit about this, and I'm in the process of building this out right now. So I have this platform I launched last year called the Cigar Social Club.
Yep.
Now, I launched it for 3 reasons. One, I love cigars. Okay. I've made a lot of friends and built a lot of connection through cigar smoking.
Mm.
And I started when I was in my 30s, and then I kind of broke away from it, and I came back to it. Why? Because we can do this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, as men and as women, but mostly the fellas.
Yeah.
Right? The fellowship that you get from having a stick, sitting and chilling, priceless. Okay, it's worth every second that cigar burns. It's that time you're sitting still and you're having that conversation. It may just be a couple of you. It may just be you and your boy, whatever, right? But that's what happens. Everywhere I go in the country when I travel, I make it a point to do so.
Mm.
And I always meet somebody cool.
Mm-hmm.
Almost every time.
Mm-hmm.
What did we say earlier? Stacking experiences.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, Cigar Social. We just talked about young people. What's the challenge with young people? They don't know.
Yeah.
Yep.
They really don't. They don't understand what that means. They don't know what it looks like. They think socializing is going to school. No, that's not socializing. That's school. I mean, just getting together for no apparent reason and kicking it, right? Going to the ballpark, going to play basketball, volleyball, going to just lay on the beach, whatever that looks like to be social. So in my case, because I happen to enjoy a little bit of the brown stuff and a stick, I felt like, you know what? Why don't I get these guys together? And I learned this from, shout out to my boy AJ. When I first met him, he was doing it, we'd do an event about every 6 months or so. I decided I want to build this into more of a social aspect on a regular basis at a high level for folks who are building their lives. They got young kids, they got older kids, but for a chance for people to get out of their comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Because that to me is how I got where I got.
Yeah.
I think when you and I first met, when I was at your kook run, your first one, last year, for me, our first one.
Yep.
That's how we met. You came over and spoke to me. We had a conversation, and you made me the offer to come with ERS. That's how I learned how to do that, right? And then the last thing is like the club aspect of it is just literally, I want people to feel like they can be somewhere and just be themselves. Man, come kick it, right?
Yeah.
Now, I have a rule. I'm quiet about it. We don't talk about politics.
Mm-hmm.
We don't talk about religion.
Mm.
We don't talk about other people's business. We talk about your business. What you doing today? What you doing today?
Yep.
How you doing, man? What's going on with you? What's happening? What's that like?
And that's the way it should be, though.
That's
right?
what,
Like,
100%.
Yeah.
Dude.
You're bridging gaps right now
Yeah.
through that. I mean, that's the reality. And so we talk about politics and it just starts polarizing. I mean, if you want to be polarized, just look at your fucking phone for a little while longer.
Back to the phone conversation.
Yeah, you'll be fucking back to that, right? But
Yeah.
you're bridging gaps of just removing the things that people think are important that really are not that fucking important.
Never was, and that's my point. I think
Yeah.
what I get across to, my own kids and then all the friends who are in my circle. I'm doing this for us.
Mm.
I'm not doing this for me.
Mm.
Someone asked me the other day, "Are you making money at it?" I think the money and the revenue will come, but at the end of the day, I had an uncle, man, who taught me this, and I didn't know what I was learning when I was standing in the middle of it. He used to have a social club at his home from the South. And so I was one of his runners. And I would run. I'm making this up, man. I'm all of like 14, 15 years. My mother hated this, by the way. I would run to the corner store from Uncle Sport and pick up the supplies. All the booze.
Yeah.
All the food.
Back when you used to be able to pick up liquor at 14 years old.
Yeah. You pick it up.
Yeah.
Okay. Run it back to the crib. Give him the inventory. I always had cash in my pocket because he gave me a couple $100. Whatever was left over was mine. That was my fee. And I was like, man. And I was thinking about that. I was like, oh, that's what he was doing. He was bringing people together. I don't know what all they was doing, but the concept of it in the neighborhood, though, this wasn't like a nightclub or something. This was just a kicking it like kind of speakeasy deal that he would do on a Friday, Saturday night. And everybody knew they could roll over to the sports house and kick it. Play some cards, talk some shit, have a few drinks. I'm like, wow. So I kind of derived it from watching what he did. And then before I left for the military, I had a buddy that owned a nightclub, and he kind of had the same idea. It was a local nightclub. And he just would do like these special nights. And different people would come through. And I'm like, that's cool.
Yeah.
I had no idea that I was stacking all this in my head. And I told a friend of mine, I said, dude, I'm literally doing what I learned from back then. But I want people to understand we talked about this, it's not just about the cigar. It's literally a reason to get people to come and do something outside of their comfort zone. I get people that tell me all the time, well, I don't smoke. How many people tell you, I've never run a trail before? I don't care. Come
on out.
Walk.
Yeah.
Walk, stroll.
Be a part of the community.
Yeah.
Walk, stroll, trot. We don't care. Come on out.
Yep.
Stop trying to think that someone cares. No one cares.
Yep.
Come. Show up. Be who you are. Make it, because you know what happens? I'm sure you've seen this when you guys have been doing this program, running stuff. People get hooked.
Mm-hmm.
Start feeling better. They start realizing that they could have done it all along. And then they get committed.
Yep.
I've met some of your committed disciples. I love your people, man. They're amazing, right? I feel the same way about this program I'm putting together. I want this to be something that people can identify with, just coming and chilling, man, and not worried about what else is going on out there, right? And I tell people all the time, from surviving my cancer, at the end of the day, it's funny. I said, look, I got cancer. Cancer didn't get me. I'm good. I'm going to do things that I put off earlier in my life because I thought I had to be a certain way, do things a certain way. You know what I mean? You guys know what I'm saying, right?
Amen.
No. I'm sure that's probably the way you do ERS. I don't want to speak for you on that, but that's where I'm at. I'm like, look, you know what? I'm going to do this the way I feel like it could be impactful.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Live a legacy, but get people, again, out of their comfort zone.
Yep.
I think you're talking, I said this to somebody who was freaking out on me in one of my sessions I was coaching. I said, she was just rambling.
Mm-hmm.
I said, you had a death sentence. You're going off. Let's say you have 48 hours to live. Well, would this matter?
That's what's up, man.
And she just stopped.
That's profound.
Back deep.
Yes.
I was like, holy shit. And she's like, what the fuck? Like,
why
you gotta be so morbid? She said. She started laughing right off the bat, right? And I was like, why you gotta be so morbid? I go, but it's the truth.
But that's how you disrupt things.
That's the fucking truth, dude. Like, you unfortunately got, a cancer, which is a fear of death sentence, right?
Could be.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so, me, I have several health issues and addiction and the way I was raised and all this stuff, right?
Sure.
And so, that's the reason why I started my gym and my business.
But see the thing too, man, for both of y'all, man. But yet you go on, man. You get after it.
Yeah.
And this is the thing. Like I think the human condition, man. This is what we need to understand about this life. We get to live. We get to help people understand. It's not just about the stuff you feel like you're going through. Because I saw a quote that Tom Hanks said in a podcast. He was with a couple of the heavy hitters in the business. He was like, "You think you're doing all right? You think you're good? Too shall pass.
Yeah.
You think it's the end of the world? Oh my God, the world's coming down on me." He said, "You shall pass."
Yep.
You think you're the best at what you're doing?
Mm-hmm.
Just you wait.
Yep.
He said, so just understand that's that wave in the ocean, right? And sometimes the seas are calm.
Yeah.
Yep.
How do people get involved with your social? So
if you go to my Instagram right now, shout out to Jessie. She's about to get on my case. I got a job to do now. @_ Cigar Social Club.
Okay.
That's my Instagram. That's how I communicate with everyone. I launched my TikTok platform in March.
Okay.
So we're gonna have both. I'll be doing more feeds. And the theme of this club is also, again, quietly, men's health. Like, I'm trying to find better ways to communicate with our people. And what I mean by our people, to really share, not to be preachy, okay? But just to say, hey, man, if you go get a check, I have resources for you. That's going to be on my website, socialsticksclubs.com. And just like in between that, and the play on word is intentional.
Yeah.
Social Sticks Club.
Yeah.
It's intentional because I want someone to go somewhere where they can find information where they may not find it. They ain't going to some of the big pharmaceutical websites, even though I consult for those guys. And I've had this conversation with them. So that's what we're doing right now, is really building that out to just kind of, on the sly, give people the information and let them decide for themselves.
Yeah.
If they want to use it or not use it. But I want to make sure it's out there.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. I mean, just keep on normalizing the conversation is probably
100%.
the most powerful thing we can do because, just we talk about our friend Cy, right? And so him not wanting to do that. And there's just a stigma. And men can be so prideful in a lot of ways.
No,
right?
man, men are fucking stubborn.
Yeah.
You know why they're stubborn? Because you know what the biggest thing about being stubborn as a man is? Fear. Fear of what's going to change. By the way, and this could be good change, but fear of what's going to change in your life will keep you from your blessing.
Yeah.
That blessing could be surviving cancer.
Yeah.
That blessing could be, meeting the love of your life. That blessing could be starting a business you didn't think you could start because everybody was telling you shouldn't start it, but you started it anyway.
Yep.
Right?
Damn. Well, Chaz, I just realized I've had such a good conversation here today that I'm like, we won't be going for 2 hours, man. So
are you serious?
Yeah.
No way.
So I want to be cognizant of your time,
no
but
no worries.
We didn't even get around to pep strides and all that stuff. So you know what that means?
We got a round 2, baby.
That means part 2.
Part 2, baby.
That means
I'm
we'll
with
bring
it,
you
bro.
back
Fair
in, and
I'm with it, bro.
and we'll
Like,
talk a
I
little
am
bit more
with it.
business.
I got a water for him there. Bro.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you very much for coming in. And I honestly, this was such a more eye-opening conversation for me than what I would picture. And that's part of the reason Omar and I started this type of podcast is like, you think you're going to come in here and have a conversation of X.
That's great. Yeah.
And
yeah.
The conversation was so powerful on, stacking experiences and
I'm using that, by the way.
right.
You're welcome to start. I don't own it.
Yeah. That it changes the output of what is coming in these podcasts. And that's why we started is like, listen, you might not come in for the conversation that originally we planned for, and it ends up being such a better conversation for it.
Well, that's one of the reasons I texted you. I'm grateful, man, for that because, again, I'm working on my own style of podcasting. And honestly, I tell you, I follow the guys on the pivot really, really religiously. I just love what RC and Fred and Channing have done. But they're in a different space, right? They were former athletes. They've got great connections, and they've had some powerful guests on. But I feel like, the power is in what we're doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Exactly.
That's why we fought so hard for this name.
We'll share the story.
We didn't want to stick to no agenda, bro.
If you want to hear that story, listen to Sean Lake in that conversation and with Bubs because that was a full conversation on that. But
that's what's up.
Anyway, thank you again for coming in.
Thank you, guys.
Really appreciate you. And
appreciate
cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you very much, guys.
Salute.
Salute.
Thanks, sir.
Yep.